Welcome, welcome, welcome to another fantastic episode of My Orgasmic Life. And today's episode is brought to you by tickle.life. All right. Earlier this week, I talked about cunnilingus, licky licky. So fair is fair. Let's talk about how do we worship the penis? Let's talk about blowjobs, hummers, BJs, which personally is one of my favorite things. You know, these are my favorite things. Fellatio is one of them. This should be a fun episode. All right, so everybody who's engaging with me, watching me live, good morning, and everybody who's going to watch the replay and listen to the replay, I hope you have just as much fun as we're going to have right now. So I'm Gaia Morrissette, a holistic sexual wellness specialist, a BDSM wellness specialist, and a high priestess of divine sexual magic and elemental magics, as well as a pro dominatrix. Today we're talking about BJs, blowjobs, hummers. All right, so I spend a lot of time doing sexual education, and a couple of years ago, I decided that I was going to do some dropping in and doing some research, and so I started asking men what did they like about blowjobs and what did they not like about blowjobs, and if they could tell women or anybody who's going to be putting the penis in the mouth, if they could tell them one thing that they wish everybody knew, they started giving me these. And so I got 7 tips, right, from doing this research. And the first one, so I want to share that with you, right? So anybody who is going to put a penis in your mouth, listen up. You do these 7 things, you will be epic. All right. So the first one is lube it up. Wet and slippery is fun and sexy. Chafing is not. All right. So you can do this in a couple different ways. There's some fun ways that you can make this more enjoyable for you. So you can just use your own saliva. You can use flavored lubes. You can use coconut oil. Just so that you know, though, if you're going to use coconut oil, make sure that you wash the penis thoroughly before, if you're going to use latex condoms, because it can break the condoms. Okay, just important safety tip there. Anything that you use that's flavor, you could start what other so some food play, which is one of my personal kinks. I really like cherry pie filling. Is kind of fun. So you can put some cherry pie filling and you can add some slipperiness. So that's really fun. All right, so lube it up. The next secret that owners of penises want you to know is pressure. Pressure, pressure, pressure. So this actually was one of the number one complaint that I heard from the guys, which was often people don't use enough pressure. It's almost like fucking a bucket of water. Like it's not sexy. It's not pleasurable. There's not enough sensations. There's not enough pressure. So it's really important to look at that. I'm getting loves. So pressure. All right. Don't be afraid of the penis, all right? You won't break it. You have to do some extreme behavior to break the penis. And if you've ever watched a guy treat his penis when he's masturbating, he's not gentle. So really important, more pressure. And if you're not sure if you have the right amount of pressure, ask. Just ask. Would you like more pressure or less pressure? Okay. Next is the balls balls are part of the whole experience. The testes, as I like to call them, the boys. The boys want to be a part of the party, right? Don't ignore them. So some of the ways that you know, and a lot of women that I've had conversations with have said, well, what do I do with them? Like, they're just, I don't know really what to do with them. So here's some ideas. You can grip the testicles so that you tighten the skin around them at the base, and then you can tickle and scratch. That's one good thing to do with the testicles. Licking them is also always a good idea. You can also put one of the testicles in your mouth and hum and, you know, do some vibration that way. So there's just some, you know, just if you're starting to begin the beginning of like becoming friends with the testicles, the boys, the balls, then, you know, just explore. Now the testicles, you need to be a little more gentle than with the shaft, with the penis. Okay. So, you know, don't go slapping them around. That's another episode called CBT, which one day I'm sure I'll do an episode about that. But for the purpose of this, be gentle, and you can add slight more pressure to them. You can also ask, this again, I know, crazy idea. You can ask the owner of the penis how he would like his balls to be played with. All right. Tip number 4, secret number 4. Tongue action is not just for the ladies. It's not just for the vagina. It's not just for the pussy. All right. Lick the penis, lick the balls, add your tongue, swirl your tongue around the head. Your tongue is a very sexy part of the oral sex experience. All right. So you can lick it like a lollipop. So everybody who's watching me, you just saw me do that. Everybody who's listening, I basically pretended I had a lollipop, or actually more like an ice cream cone, where I licked from the bottom all the way to the head. All right, so that's a really good move. You can flick your tongue and lick right underneath, so the frenulum is what it's technically called. But anyway, so the head of the penis, you know how it dips down and it kind of has that heart shape? Right there is a really good place to lick, and all around the edge underneath the head. Okay, so those are some really good spots to lick, as well as, again, lick the boys, lick the testicles. Be turned on. This is really important. Of all the things, this is the most important thing. If you are not turned on while you are, you know, pleasing somebody orally, they feel it. And it's just, you're going through the motions, and it feels like it's obligatory, which is not sexy. Nothing is sexy about obligatory sex at any level. So be turned on. If you are not turned on by penis in your mouth, by sucking, and I'm going to say it, cock, which is my favorite word. Yay! I'm going to say it again. Cock. You're not turned on by sucking cock, you know, giving a blowjob, then you need to do some things to drop into that place. So one, if there's been some issues and trauma, please come see me so we can heal that and get rid of that stuff. You can find me at succulentliving.com. For everybody else, there's 2 great ways to actually add some more arousal. Buy a pair of vibrating panties, or go get a little wee vibe, like a little tiny bullet, and you can put it in a pair of panties. You know, if you have some sex toys, put your sex toys in your panties. Something that's going to get you turned on, something that's going to stimulate you. Because the more aroused you are, the more you're going to suck penis with vigor and intensity and sounds of pleasure, and you're going to get right in there and you're going to enjoy it. And the person who's receiving it is going to be aroused by the fact that you're just so having such a good time. The next thing is that part of that is also to, when you're turned on, is there's this look. And everybody loves this look. okay, where you have penis and mouth, and you look up at their eyes. And it's really important to every once in a while to make eye contact, because when you're making eye contact, it's really sexy. It's like really, really sexy. Men love that. Now, me personally, like I said, I love giving blowjobs. It's like one of my favorite things. And so when I have a penis in my mouth, I am like a happy little camper. I'm like, la, 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 you know, and I'm like, I'm happy and my eyes are glowing and I'm like just so content, and it's a beautiful thing. All right. So what that does is that it makes the person who's receiving it really feel like, yeah, she's having a good time. She's not going through the motions. So being turned on is super important. All right. Majority of men are more audio and visual. And that audio visual stimulation is really hot and really sexy for them. So making lots of sloppy sounds, you know, getting in there and lots of spit and slobber and making those sloppy sounds and the sucking sounds. And, you know, if you're doing some deep throating, you know, a little bit of gagging sounds, those are really, really, really hot. And guys love those sounds. They love them. I was also on the tips that I talked to. Visual stimulation. Guys are really into visual stimulation. So making sure that you have, you know, some lingerie on, that, you know, you might have some, you know, sexy lipstick on, that, you know, something that's visually stimulating, that usually also heightens the experience for them. And the 7th secret is variety is the spice of life. Mix up your strokes. Go on an adventure with the penis, all right? Play with the head, play with the testicles, play with the shaft. Nibble, use your, you know, invite your teeth, but your teeth in very gentle teeth action. Don't be like scraping your teeth. That's not always a sex thing. So just like light nibbles, all right? You know, the head tends to be more sensitive. So when you're doing some teeth actions, you know, kind of keep away from the head, unless your partner really enjoys that, and they can tell you that they do. Mix up your pressure, mix up your rhythm, mix up your strokes. Now, what's really important is as they start to build towards ejaculation, and we're going to talk about, well, what do we do with ejaculation? Okay, so you want to have this conversation before you're giving oral sex. You want to ask, you know, you want to have the conversation of where you want the ejaculate to go. Do you want to have it in your mouth? Are you planning on swallowing it? Do you want it on a part of your body? Where are we putting the ejaculate? So everybody has an idea. Do you want a warning that they're about to ejaculate, you know, so that you can make your mind up at that moment, right? So you need to have that conversation with your partner that you're going to give oral sex to find out what happens, because that's usually where things get really icky and ruined and awful. Are you okay? You know, it's very important. Like, do you have a thing around somebody putting their hand on your head and, you know, kind of forcing your head down? You know, these are the things that you want to talk about before you do this. And I know I always talk about before sex conversations. This is a really important one. You want to know where you're going to do the ejaculate. What are their things? What do they like? What kind of rhythm do they like? Pressure? Do they like with their testicles? These are the questions you're going to ask. And you're going to share with them if you're okay with them touching your head, your hair, putting their hand on the back of your head and, you know, being a little more aggressive. Like, how do you feel about all of those things? If you set that stuff up in advance, you'll have a good time, they'll have a good time, and everybody will be happy. If you don't set that up, that's when shit goes horribly wrong. All right. Now, what if it tastes bad? Well, often it does. What does the semen taste like? Often it does because of dietary things. So if it really tastes bad and you don't want it in your mouth, then, you know, one of the things you can negotiate if this is an ongoing partner is you can say, hey, you want me to, you know, let you ejaculate in my mouth. I need you to do some, you know, make your semen taste good. And which means some dietary changes. And I will get into, I'm going to do a whole podcast on how to make your cum taste good. So we'll do a whole series around how to do that. But the whole point is that negotiate, have a conversation about that. If you really want her to swallow, make it taste like yumminess. All right. That's it. That's all. There's our like 7 secrets. So I'm going to go over them. Lube it up. Pressure. Balls are your friends. Tongue action. Be turned on. Audio. Make sloppy sounds. Visual. And the 7th is variety is the spice of life. Oh, actually, one last thing around that. So you're mixing it up, you're changing your pressure, you're doing all this stuff. Now he's getting ready to ejaculate. You can start to see that by his body language that you've been watching and paying attention to. All right. So, you know, his breathing is different. His muscles are tensing up. His sound is changing. You can start to see and feel all of those things. And as he's getting closer, whatever you're doing, continue doing that, but just speed it up a little bit. And this will help him go over the edge. All right. So there's your 7 secrets to giving an epic blowjob. Well, I'm sure we're going to have more. There's actually way more things that we can do about oral sex. So pay attention for those. All right. Have a fantastic day. And remember, follow me on all the social media platforms under Gaia Morrissette or Empress Gaia. You can find me at succulentliving.com for all of your online education, your coaching, all of the wonderful things that I do in the world, as well as for all of your BDSM needs and education. You can find me at empressgaia.com. Don't forget to subscribe, watch, listen, download the podcast called My Orgasmic Life. It can be found on all the fantastic podcasting platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, you name it. I'm on them. Or you can find them on my website under succulentliving.com. And I hope you have a day filled with lots of sucky sucky, licky licky, and may your weekend be filled with epic oral sex now. And if you haven't listened or watched, you know, the Cunnilingus video and conversation and episode on licky licky, then make sure you go find that episode and listen or watch it. All right. And come see me at YouTube. Follow me on YouTube as well under Gaia Morrissette. Have a sexy day. Have a fantastic weekend. Mwah. Bye-bye.